Okay, and that leaves our last item, right, that we're going to deal with will be our button. And I'm going to give our button, where is it? I'm just going to give it a class of button. Because I may have more buttons in the future. And maybe I'm going to need to get more specific, but we'll start right there. And I'm also going to want to be able to click on this button. So I'm going to go ahead and add put the link. And I'm going to put it on the outside of the button, so the whole button is clickable. If I put it on just the text inside the button, then only the text within the button is clickable. But by putting it around the full button, right, then this whole shape will be clickable. Okay. All right. Okay, that's all good. Okay, and now we've got our style class of buttons, so we can go back and we'll give ourselves a button class. And there's no problem using the same name, right? So, maybe we could call this button ticket or button, give a more specific name, but it's the only button we're going to have on the site, so it'll be okay for now. All right, and the first thing I want to specify is the height. I'm going to go 40px. All right, there we go. And a new property called border radius. And what border radius is it's the rounded edge of this, right? So I'm going to make this 8 pixels, right? So that softens it up, right? That looks pretty good. And then the next thing, right, my button is too tight here and here. It looks pretty good up here. So we're going to add a little padding, right? And on the top, I don't need any. On the right-hand side, I'll need 20. On the bottom, I don't need any. And on the left-hand side, I'll need 20. Okay, that looks better. Okay, now I'm going to work on a little background color. And I'm going to use a different color treatment this time because I want to specify the opacity of the color, right? Now, hex colors, we can use an opacity property on the element. But if I do the opacity property on this element, right, then the text and the border and everything, gets will be transparent, right? Now, that's not what I want. What I want is I just want that color in the background to go away. So the easiest way for me to do that is to use an RGB, gotta spell it right, RGBA value, okay? And then the RGBA, right, will let us specify red, green, blue, and alpha. Now the alpha is the transparency, right? So 1 for an alpha is 100% opaque. 0 on alpha is completely transparent. So I want this entire thing to be transparent, right? And I want my colors. I'm going to do 0, 0, 0. Okay. All right, so now my color is set to black, right? And I've set the alpha to 0. And you can see, right, that now it's transparent. Okay. Right, I've lost my rollover, but I'll deal with that in a minute. So now I can see through my button, right? It's just the border outline. Okay. Coming along. And the border, I don't really want this full black. It's a little much. So I'm going to go ahead and do border, and I'm going to do 1 pixel solid, right? And I'm going to do a hash color of 333, which is kind of a gray. Right? Oh, and there we go. Right now it's a thinner, so it's just a 1 pixel. I've lightened it up a little bit, so visually it has a character much closer to the lightweight of the typeface. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that's a good deal. And now I want to do a button, and I want to use my pseudo class of hover. Right? Right? Because this is similar to a link. So when I hover over the item, I want something to happen, and I'm going to do a background color, and I'm going to go just to black, and I want the text inside the button to be white. Right, FFF. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good, right? So quick. Now, I'm going to introduce a little CSS animation, and what I can add is a little transition onto the button, right? So transition duration, right? What will happen is anything that affects the button, right? The hover will affect the button. It'll change it. What I'm telling it is, like, I want, when that happens, that there to be a transition from what the current button is to whatever the change is. And I'm going to control the duration. That's how long it will take, right? For 0.4 seconds or 400 milliseconds. All right, one would be a 1 second delay, 0.4, so it's a really quick delay. So let's go ahead and save that. Right, and now, right, you see my little transition. Okay. All right. So I've got my hovers. Everything is aligned. I've got a little transition on my button. Okay, that's it for the menu. On to the next video.